Time now for Financial Friday on WOMI with your host, Drew Watson, sponsored by Aligned Wealth Management.
Ernie Johnson and Charles Barkley welcoming you back to Susan's Cubicle here in Accounts Payable. What an afternoon of nonstop bookkeeping action, Charles. Are you kidding me? She set herself a reminder to get out of that chair and move.
That's a smart use of a timeout.
She's somehow still reading her emails while getting her heart rate up and moving her muscles. Healthy habits that could lower your risk of cancer.
Uh-oh, it's Karen from the IT department.
This is a wrinkle no one saw coming. She means well, but she just derailed the yoga class down in accounts receivable.
There she goes with one of her usual distractions.
But Susan just tosses her a no-look wave.
That's a crazy move.
Let's watch that again. She's stretching, and there's the effortless side wave.
Susan's putting on a clinic.
Susan from Accounts Payable, dominating. Just get moving. It helps in the prevention of so many cancers.
Stand Up to Cancer and Optum want to help you reduce your risk for cancer. Visit takeahealthystand.org.
Welcome back to Shaped by Faith. My guest today is Becky Barnhart, and she is the executive director of the Senior Community Center. And Becky, you were just talking about some of the special events that you recently had that sound like so much fun. So let's talk about your your weekly events, things that are planned
Right.
and, that people can count on every single week. So why don't you talk about those?
Yeah, I think people will probably be surprised with how much we have going on, but we provide lunch and every day here at the Senior Center at 11:30, and again, that's for anybody 60 and over. But classes, we have low impact exercise class that's actually being taught by two of our seniors. One of them is 90, Teresa.
Oh, wow.
She's 90 years old, and she teaches the low impact class. And that class is booming. I mean,
Wow.
it's tripled in the last few
Wait a
months.
minute. You said she's 90 years old?
90.
I
Yes.
want to meet her.
She's awesome. She's awesome. And I said to her when she told me, I said, you don't look 90. And then it started, like you said earlier, like, what is 90 supposed to look like? What's 70 supposed to look like? Well, our 90-year-old is teaching low impact exercise class once a week. So
Oh, that is so amazing. I did not know that. Okay.
yeah, it's
I
a
do
great
want to
class.
meet her. Yeah.
Yeah. And we have a group of women that play cards. We started a men's card group. I guess they got jealous that they didn't have anything. We have craft classes. And when I say class, it's a group of folks that just get together and work on their crafts together. They're not necessarily working on a project or, they help each other, but it's more for that socialization. We have yoga class. We have a mat yoga and a chair yoga, silver sneakers, bingo. We have a support group, line dancing. We offer computer classes and phone classes. So there's a lot going on during the week, every day, for different events and activities.
Wow. I did not realize you had that much going on. That's a lot. Is there a cost for the activities?
Nothing. We can't require payment. Everything we offer there's a suggested donation towards it. Most of the events are like $1.50 suggested donation, but again, nobody's turned away for lack of payment.
Right.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so your focus on health and exercise, obviously it's there because you're offering
Yes.
a lot of fitness classes.
Yeah.
Okay. As far as nutrition or anything like that, do you ever have special events where you have someone come in? And I'm sure you have different speakers throughout the community.
We do.
from time to time.
And we, like I said, with the different, we have an exercise class. We offer an exercise class every day. So there's that opportunity. We have one of our seniors has started he calls it a Talk It Out support group. And he started it after we reopened for COVID, just for people to talk about their experiences during COVID. But we also have, we'll do health resource fairs, blood pressure clinics. We have free hearing testing coming in. And we partner with different organizations, to provide those one-off or one or two-off sessions on aging or dementia, Alzheimer's, mental health, those type of things. So we try to provide all of, the whole mind, body, and soul experience.
It sounds like you do. So how many are you reaching through the different activities?
We're averaging about 120 plus a day that are coming here to the senior center, and another 250 or so through the Meals on Wheels program. So that's the average. Like today, we had a record crowd today for several of our events. So our numbers are growing, and that's been very exciting. So if you ask me this question in 6 months, I hope to tell you that's a higher number.
Like you've got 500 coming through the door. 120 is a lot, Becky.
It is a lot, and I think people are surprised by that. We do have some folks that are here every day. That we have the billiards room, which is the local let's solve the world's problem spot, right? And that when we first reopened, there's like 6 tables and maybe 2 or 3 were used. Now all of them are used. I mean, the billiards room is filled all day, and wow. And we've seen a lot of growth there. So people come, every day for lunch or to play pool or to play cards we have a reading area, a library, a TV room, and it's just the socialization aspect too. I
didn't realize you had a library. That's pretty amazing.
It's a small little. We have one room, and we have a TV and a couch and puzzles and some games, and then we have some nice chairs and comfortable spaces and bookcases, and they can come in.
Don't you also have a little shop in there?
We do. We have the Pincushion gift shop, which is sourced by primarily seniors making, handmade crafts, and we're open every morning. We have some volunteers that have led that effort for years, and a couple of women that started it and worked hard for years, Miss Thelma and Miss Lucy. So we're seeing more traction there. We actually participated in Shop Local over Christmas with the chamber through the Pincushion. So
yeah, I've been. I love to shop, Becky. And we've got a lot of grandkids. So I was in there. I think it was probably a few years ago. I was in there with Randy Lanham, and we did through Project Volunteer. We filmed there. But that Pincushion gift shop, I mean, they make dog clothes. I mean, Barbie clothes, dog clothes, all sorts of things. It was really neat. So go ahead.
No, I was going to say especially around Christmas time, we sell a lot of the Barbie clothes and the doll clothes, big hits.
Yeah, and you can't find things like that. You can't buy things like that in a store. There is no way. The quality,
and they're handmade and they're inexpensive. And it's a consignment shop. But like the folks they put their stuff in there and they get a percentage and we get a little percentage. So
okay.
So it's a great way it provides a little income here and provides a little income for them as well.
That's right. So give us your hours of operation when you're open.
From 9 to 12, Monday through Friday.
Okay. Right. All right. Monday through Friday, 9 to 12. Okay. So you were talking about Meals on Wheels, which is a huge program. Yeah. You're feeding so many people. So how many sites do you deliver to, and how many people are benefiting from this program?
Well, there's actually 5 what we call nutrition sites in Davis County. We're the biggest one, of course, at the Senior Center on West 2nd. But the Whitesville Community Center has one. Roosevelt 2, we deliver meals to Roosevelt 2. Park Regency, which is right behind the mall. It's an apartment. And then Adams Village, they have a community center, and we deliver food there. And then so there's 5 different nutrition sites, and then we deliver to another 250 to 300 folks, in their homes on top of that. Wow.
How do you get all that together? That's a huge operation.
It's a big operation. And, wow. But Teresa, during COVID, the center was closed for 15 months because of COVID, but we were still delivering meals. And then there was anyone 60 and older could get a meal. There was no restrictions, no criteria. And so when I came in, we were delivering right around 600 meals a day. Wow. And it was a process for sure. We've got it down to a fine science. The Meals on Wheels driver and David Tucker, who's the manager, they just do a great job. And we get the food from canteen 5-star, and they bring it to us, and then we package it up and put it in the carts or the coolers, and the drivers take off, and it's seamless at this point. But it's amazing work that they do.
Wow. And to think that you deliver to that many homes and then those sites, I mean, that's a lot. How many days a week do you do that?
5 days a week. We deliver
Wow.
here Monday through Friday. Now, some of the nutrition sites aren't open every day. Like Adams Village is only open. We deliver there 3 times a week, and Park Regency 4 times a week. So it just varies depending on the location, but we deliver to homes. The home delivered meals are every day, Monday through Friday.
That's incredible. All right, let's take another quick break. We'll be back with more Shaped by Faith.
Using gas to heat our homes, cook our meals, or dry our clothes can be dangerous to our health, especially for kids. But we have the technology to transition the country's infrastructure to clean energy. By encouraging local government and state agencies to electrify buildings instead of using dirty gas, we can clean up a public health crisis in our housing and protect the climate. My name is Matt Vespa. I'm a senior attorney at Earth Justice, and I'm going to court to fight for clean energy. Until safe, affordable, clean energy is an option in every home, I will never rest.
Earth Justice is a national legal nonprofit defending the environment and people's health. Earth Justice is fighting to save lives, protect our climate, and strengthen our economy through the shift to zero emissions. If clean air matters to you, visit us at earthjustice.org. Earth Justice, because the earth needs a good lawyer.
Prescription opioids can be addictive and dangerous.
I was given a prescription opioid pain medication, and within only a few months, I was completely addicted. I lost everything. I had to leave school and stop playing sports in college, and I started to watch my life slip away. I want people to know that these drugs are addictive. One prescription can be all it takes to lose everything.
Prescription opioids. It only takes a little to lose a lot. Visit cdc.gov/RxAwareness.
Welcome back to Shaped by Faith. Becky Barnhart, gosh, you do so much at the Senior Community Center. You're the executive director, and you've been telling me about the special events, the activities, Meals on Wheels, and you have a transportation service. Is that right?
We do. We have a driver. We have a transit van that's handicap accessible. We can transport people in wheelchairs to doctor's appointments, grocery store, any appointment they need. The medical appointments take priority. They just got to call the senior center at 270-687-4640. We ask for 48 hours notice, and we just charge $1.50 per trip, so $3 round trip. But we, again, 60 and older, and we can take them anywhere within Davis County.
Okay, so do they have to be at the Senior Community Center?
No. We go and pick them up at their house and take them to appointments, and we pick up a lot of folks and bring them to the senior center for activities and events, and then take them home. So
that is amazing. Okay,
is
there a cost involved with that?
Well, again, it's a suggested donation of $1.50 per leg. So if you come to the senior center and back, it's suggested $3.
I mean, that's like a super Uber service.
It is.
I mean, that is incredible. I did not realize, Becky, you guys did that. Okay. So you have to call a day in advance at least. And
we really ask for 48 hours notice.
Okay.
So, and like I said, the medical appointments take priority, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But we take people to Kroger or Walmart, Aldi, whatever's needed.
That is incredible. Okay, let's talk about funding. How is the center funded?
Well, I think a lot of people may not realize, but we're federally mandated. Every county in Kentucky has to have a central focal point for a senior center through the Older Americans Act. So we're federal. A majority of our funds are federal and state through our contract with GRAD, and we've held that contract since 1997. We're also a quasi-city agency, and we're very grateful for the city support and the county support that we get, and then donations, individuals, businesses, and we host fundraisers like every other nonprofit. but that's how we're funded.
Okay. So let's talk about volunteers. I know you have to have some volunteers there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We have about 30 volunteers right now that help out with a variety of things. And honestly, I feel like if there's anybody who has a desire to volunteer, we have that need, whatever it is. But I mean, we need people to help us haul homebound seniors or go visit them. We have a pet Meals on Wheels program that I don't think a lot of people are aware of, and so we need volunteers to package up the pet food. And
all right, hold on. Did you say pet?
Pet.
Seriously?
Yes.
Wow, I did not know that.
We received a grant from Meals on Wheels America about a year and a half ago to start a pet assistance program.
Wow.
And we're one of the first senior centers in the area, tri-state area. And so we now accept a lot of donations of pet food and supplies. And so it's for our Meals on Wheels clients, because they find that, folks will feed their animals before they'll feed themselves.
You're right.
So we want to keep the seniors healthy and keep them at home. And so this is one way to do that, because their pets are such important companions and important, critical to their health.
Absolutely. They're part of their family. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep.
Wow, that is really neat. Okay, I know you've got to have some incredible stories, some inspirational stories. So what would you like to share?
Well, I think people just need to realize that the senior center is just a lifeline for so many people. We have grown a lot by people that have moved to Owensboro because their kids are here and their grandkids, and and that's the first place they look up. Like, is there a senior center? We had a woman move from California, and she said to us, she said, "This place is so much nicer than our senior center back home." And that just meant so much to me. We have one woman, she was here for the dance, for one of the dances. I think it was the St. Patrick's Day dance. And she said to me, she said, "I went to bed with a smile on my face and I woke up with a smile on my face."
Oh,
and that, that's what keeps us going, but we're just fortunate to come into contact with a lot of wonderful, wonderful people. And everybody here has a story.
Yes. And people could learn so much if they would just listen to people that are older and wiser than them, and just honor
Teresa,
them.
Funny that you would mention that, because we have partnered with OCTC with one of their developmental psychology classes for 2 different semesters, and matched seniors with students. And they go through a life in review project and the students put together a scrapbook for the senior, and the senior is their guinea pig. They answer all these questions, and it is such a powerful project, and we're looking to restart it in the fall. But that's been incredible for both staff, the seniors, and the students. It's just been a great project.
Absolutely. I think, that needs to go on everywhere, even in the elementary schools, middle schools. Okay, we only have like 30 seconds, but what's your goal or vision for the senior center moving forward?
I think we just want to keep growing and adapting to the needs, and the demographic of seniors is the fastest growing demographic in the country. So we want to keep providing different activities and events that are going to meet the needs of the seniors.
It sounds like you are. Wow. Okay, so give us a phone number again, Becky. Yes.
270-687-4640.
Okay. Go ahead. And the
I was just going to
address?
say that the office is open like 8 to 3:30.
8 to 3:30. Okay. Well, I'm going to have you come back on possibly in the fall and give us an update. You are doing so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Teresa.
Absolutely. And thank you for listening. I'm Teresa Rowe. Everyone have a blessed day. Bye.
Thank you for listening to Shaped by Faith with Teresa Rowe. Remember to visit shapebyfaith.com to find out more about workouts, the TV show, podcasts, blogs, Shaped by Faith products, and much more.
From the Cabinet Doors and More studio, this is WOMI Owensboro.
The following program is paid for by Rainmaker Incorporated.
Hello and welcome to Financial Fridays, brought to you by Align Wealth Management. This is the first show this year, 2023 in June, and we have a pretty good lineup for you today. We're going to look at the difference between small cap and large cap stocks, whether or not it makes sense to buy an electric vehicle, and then answer your questions that have come in via email in our final segment, as we do every week. Thursday was a little bit of a turnaround for the markets, where they were broadly higher across the board, but the Dow has been kind of slowly on a skid the last 4 out of 5 weeks. Mainly the news is in Washington, D.C., to quote Obi-Wan Kenobi, the most wretched hive of scum and villainy. Debt bill has passed the House and looks like it will pass the Senate. So we're getting a little bit of a rally there. Risk assets have found an appetite across the board towards the end of this week. Gold is back up after kind of choppy trading really for the last few weeks. West Texas Intermediate crude is back above $70 a barrel as of Thursday's close. And in the commodity space, we've continued to get what I would consider to be higher prices with cattle, but generally most commodities have been in line with their trading pattern as they've done so far this year. Unless you've been living on air and free water, what you know is any trip to the grocery store has produced, grocery bills that have maybe 3 numbers before the decimal point, and that's if you're lucky, as meat prices have continued to rise. Now, we may get some help from pork, as there seems to be a little bit of a glut in pork prices and pork out there, and that'll be interesting to see what happens the rest of the summer. If it keeps up the way it is, you may be having a pork burger instead of a hamburger come 4th of July. Keep listening to Financial Fridays right here on this station, brought to you by Align Wealth Management. We'll be back in 60 seconds.
What do you want to do when you grow up? When we were young, it's a question we were often asked. As we get older, our passions become clearer, our pursuits become careers, and if we're diligent, we begin to plan for the life we want to live. That's why at Ameriprise Financial, we ask, what's most important to you? Starting with our Confident Retirement approach, your Ameriprise Financial Advisor will ask questions that will help you arrive at a customized plan that can help you realize your goals today, tomorrow, and throughout retirement. With the right financial advisor, life can be brilliant. Call Align Wealth Management, a private wealth advisory practice of Ameriprise Financial Services, Inc., today at 270-684-8424. That's 270-684-8424. Office is located at 2708 New Hartford Road in Owensboro, Kentucky. The Confident Retirement approach is not a guarantee of future financial results. Investment advisory products and services are made available through Ameriprise Financial Services, Inc., a registered investment advisor.
Hello and welcome back to Financial Fridays, brought to you by Align Wealth Management. I'm your host, Private Wealth Advisor Drew Watson, and in our Investment Spotlight segment, we're going to take a deeper dive into some small and mid-cap stocks today versus the top of the market, which is the large cap sector. As always, this is not a recommendation to buy or sell any security, but just a matter of providing information that you might find useful. Now, let us set the stage. The market obviously has done better this year than some people have thought, with the S&P 500, let's say, coming in, let's see, earlier this week, the S&P was up year to date, roughly 9%, and that's been a shocker to some people. But if you take out the top dozen or so tech stocks, the S&P 500 is really right around break even. And as a setting the table piece here, keep in mind The S&P 500 is a market cap weighted index, meaning that the largest stocks such as Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia have an outweighting or outsized impact on the performance of the index compared to the 498th or 499th or 500th size stock. So far this year, and especially since March, investors have favored large cap stocks. The dominating performance, as I said, of a handful of mega cap stocks this year, principally concentrated in the tech and tech related areas, has created a sizable return dispersion between the S&P 500 index and the smaller cap Russell indexes that would be either mid or small cap stocks. According to Morningstar, the S&P 500 devotes about 26% of the index to technology, significantly more than the roughly 16% of technology companies that make up the Russell Mid-Cap Index and 14% of tech stocks that sit in the Russell Small Cap 2000 universe. Conversely, each of the Russell indices has exposure to smaller regional banks, which have come under significant selling pressure since March and the bank failures. And given that a potential recession in the U.S. could hamper mid and small size companies, which tend to be more domestically driven, investors have placed a greater emphasis on larger cap companies with broader revenue levers. Tightening credit and lending standards have also weighed on small cap momentum since March. That said, think about the environment in January for a moment and look at how the Russell indexes were performing against the S&P 500. At that time, economic data was refuting a pending recession, and interest rates were coming down, and the market began to price in a slowdown in Fed rate hikes. In that environment, smaller cap stocks were outperforming their larger cap counterparts in the S&P 500. I would suggest if economic data continues to hold, a soft or no landing scenario takes on more shape. The Fed pauses in June and interest rates continue to stabilize. Cyclical areas of the economy could perform better than they are doing today. Mid-cap and small-cap benchmarks, both the funds and ETFs, tend to have a greater concentration of cyclical exposure and may see a change in sentiment should the U.S. economy continue to hold water and avoid a deeper or protracted downturn. That's kind of the Goldilocks scenario. Something to think about is that in any mean reversion trading inside tech and or further bank stabilization could also provide a tailwind for small cap and mid cap stocks and their indexes if economic conditions remain stable. That's a big if. In the meantime, investors should remain defensively biased overall, I think, and depending on who you follow, you might see people are tactically underweight small caps, but something that's been tried and true over time is maintaining some exposure to small caps can help diversify the portfolio. But it does appear that investors are all sitting on the side of the boat where large cap tech sits. So, that's one thing to think about is we are getting close to what I would say, maybe not all-time records, but certainly pretty high records where just a few stocks are moving the entire index. And if you look at the subsectors of technology, up 34% year to date, and communication services, which has a lot of components in there, up 32%, definitely you can see they are very much outstripping other pieces of the component indexes that would make up the S&P 500. So that's food for thought. We're going to be back after a word from our sponsors as it pertains to if you're thinking about buying an electric vehicle, you will definitely want to listen to the next segment because we're going to discuss this from the perspective of financial planning and budgeting, et cetera, just to see if there is any real savings to be had. Keep listening to Financial Fridays, brought to you by Align Wealth Management. We'll be back after a word from our sponsors.
When today is unpredictable, You need sound advice and strong support to help you stay focused on your long-term financial goals for tomorrow. Ameriprise has been guiding clients through challenging times for over 125 years. You can take comfort in working with an advisor who's backed by that strong experience and who's there to guide you with personalized, goal-based financial advice. Together, you and your Ameriprise advisor can plan your future while navigating your now. Call Align Wealth Management, a private wealth advisory practice of Ameriprise Financial Services, LLC, today at 270-684-8424. That's 270-684-8424. Offices located at 2708 New Hartford Road in Owensboro, Kentucky.
Hello and welcome back to Financial Fridays, brought to you by Align Wealth Management. I'm your host, Drew Watson, and this is the financial planning segment of the show where we will take a deeper dive into financial planning topics that come up from time to time. And today, a really good financial planning topic to discuss, I think you could say fits in with budgeting, also fits in maybe to what's going on in Washington, D.C. and what's going on environmentally. And let's talk about what is the cost of an electric vehicle. I think, our former CFO here, Bill Young, great guy, always taught us to say a number by itself means nothing. You have to have a reference point or a point of comparison when it comes to numbers. And I think that is a good jumping off point when it comes to the electric vehicle discussion. And let's say that jumping off point may be a either normal combustion motor vehicle, or it could be a hybrid vehicle. And I think if you are looking at the potential move to an electric car and wanting to know from a financial planning standpoint what you should do from a budgeting standpoint, there's probably some things to think about. First and foremost, getting facts in this arena is not as easy as going down to your local gas station and just seeing that gas is, let's say, $3 a gallon, and you typically fill up once a week in a 15-gallon tank. And so you've got $45 a week in gasoline cost, and you get your oil change twice a year, and that's another $30, and then voila, before you know it, what you come up with is, you're out, let's say, $2,400 a year on normal maintenance, and then of course there's tires and such that might come in every 4 or 5 years. So as it pertains to the electric car, there's a Latin term that escapes me, but it basically means buyer beware. I think it's caveat imperator, but this is you kind of knowing what you're getting into before you get into it. And certainly with an electric car, there's a lot to know. First and foremost, electric cars do require electricity to charge, and it would be a good idea to get some estimates from your local power company as to where they've seen surges or additional costs, because if your electric bill is like the ones that we have in Owensboro, Kentucky from Owensboro Municipal Utilities, what you pay for electricity is just a very small portion of it, but a lot of fees and environmental surcharges come into play that bridge off of what your normal electric cost is. But if you have a pretty good idea that you'll be charging your car every night, and you talk to people that have had electric cars, have a frank conversation with them, and there again, you need to see the bill to see how much of an additional electricity grind that you're going to have. Now, a good benchmark is further west, where electric cars have been around a little bit longer than they have in this part of the country. Already, fast charging stations are charging anywhere between 25 cents, 40 cents to just under $1 a minute for charging. I know the Rivian, the new pickup truck that they offer, according to the Wall Street Journal, I think it's the R1S or R15. You have to forgive my my nearsightedness. At a supercharging station, it takes about 30 minutes to charge. You're going to look at getting around 285 miles per charge, but that 30-minute charge is just 80% full. So, if you just take 80% of the 275-mile thing, that's 220 miles. And if a charging station charges you even, say, 50 cents a minute, that's $15 to go 220 miles. If you filled up a V8, V8 big truck engine, you're going to get roughly somewhere between 350 and 400 miles on a tank of gas in a 20-gallon tank. Normally, what you might be finding out with your electric cars is once you have to start paying for the supercharger, you may be paying more than you would for gas. Secondarily, your additional cost, and you're not going to have oil changes, of course, but electric vehicles weigh much, much more than a conventional vehicle. So in the case of that Rivian pickup, I think it was basically 1/3 or 40% more gross curb weight than a conventionally gasoline aspirated engine would be on a vehicle with that size of bed, etc. And that's going to put more and more wear on your tires. Just kind of common sensing it. If your tires are carrying around 1/3 more weight, they're probably going to last maybe around 1/3 less than they normally do. And you may be going through tires, let's say every other year at $1,000 compared to other ones. And the big deal will be what kind of charging station you set up in your house, because to get the DC charging, a lot of local utilities will put you on basically surge pricing. That is, you will be charged like you're a business, and that's expensive to get set up to have that type of panel put in your house to be fed from the either underground or overhead utilities. And then when you're charging, that kilowatt hour cost might be much more. And if you don't have the supercharger, what you're looking at is a period of hours and not minutes to get a I would say 80% to full charge. Now, I do think it is crucial, though, when you look at this from a financial planning standpoint, that you do want to be as much as possible in an apples-to-apples comparison. So if you're looking at that Rivian truck, I wouldn't compare it against, like, say, a Ford F-350 Super Duty or a GMC 2500 or 3500 Max pickup, because those cars are not that big. You might be looking at like a Ford Maverick or the equivalent of what the Chevy used to have in an S10 pickup. Same thing with a car. A Tesla, their smaller body style, compare that to a smaller body style, gasoline car or hybrid. And keep in mind, most of your 4-cylinder engines today are 35 to 40 miles per gallon. And even on a 12-gallon tank, 15-gallon tank, you're going to be getting up there to a range of around almost 500 miles. And I think best we can tell in this day and age is you're looking at maybe getting half that range out of a charge from a charging station. So be sure to cover all your bases. And I think what you're going to find is getting an electric vehicle may save you some money, but it's going to be in the very, very long run, and it's assuming that oil prices stay where they are or go higher, and electricity prices stay where they are or go down, which, guess what? History shows both continue to go up, and if more things are running on electricity instead of gasoline, you could probably bet your bottom dollar that economics will take over, and what you will see sooner rather than later is much higher changes in electricity prices as compared to gasoline. Keep listening to Financial Fridays for our mailbag segment next. We'll be back after a word from our sponsor.
What do you want to do when you grow up? When we were young, it's a question we were often asked. As we get older, our passions become clearer, our pursuits become careers, and if we're diligent, we begin to plan for the life we want to live. That's why at Ameriprise Financial, we ask, what's most important to you? Starting with our Confident Retirement approach, your Ameriprise Financial Advisor will ask questions that will help you arrive at a customized plan that can help you realize your goals today, tomorrow, and throughout retirement. With the right financial advisor, life can be brilliant. Call Align Wealth Management, a private wealth advisory practice of Ameriprise Financial Services, Inc., today at 270-684-8424. That's 270-684-8424. Office is located at 2708 New Hartford Road in Owensboro, Kentucky. The Confident Retirement approach is not a guarantee of future financial results. Investment advisory products and services are made available through Ameriprise Financial Services, Inc., a registered investment advisor.
Hello and welcome back to Financial Fridays, brought to you by Align Wealth Management. I'm your host, Drew Watson, private wealth advisor with Align, and the week that was a tumultuous week for me personally. The passing of two guys I've known most of my life really impacted me. It made me, kind of reassess where a person can be with or without mentors, and I would say this Q&A mailbag segment where we take questions, emails, and by all means, you can send emails directly to me at william.a.watson@ampf.com. Would be good. And people have asked me, what did you learn from some of these guys? And first and foremost, Mr. Ronald Bean was vice chairman with me at the First National Bank of Muhlenberg County for years. He passed early on in the week, and I would say key to being successful in business is being surrounded by successful people. And for anybody that's a younger business owner here, I would say probably more than anything that you hear, finding a mentor that's been tested in the trenches is a key, I think, to go to the next level. And as I said, I've been blessed to be surrounded by people like that my entire life. And what are some takeaways that we can have if you're owning a business, wanting to own a business, you're an entrepreneur, what to look for in that mentor? And I would say one, first and foremost, look for somebody that may be doing things differently than you do. And I mean that, there's a saying in the boxing business that contrasts make the fights. And I would say there's a saying in the matrimonial business that opposites attract. And by all means, if you surround yourself with people that think just like you do, you open yourself to a tremendous blind spot, in my opinion, of groupthink and herd mentality. And there has been lots and lots of businesses and organizations fail over the years just for that. I remember years ago I was at a sermon at Settle Memorial Methodist Church, and the preacher had a great sermon, and it was the 7 last words of a failed church. and those where we've never done it that way before. So when looking for a mentor, don't always just gravitate to someone that does things exactly the way you do or thinks the way that you do. That would be point number one. There are lots of ways to skin a cat, and you can get rid of a cat just as easy by choking it with butter as choking it with your bare hands. But I say that, take those words to heart and find some people that do have a little bit different views than you have. So that's one. I think number two, for successful businesses and finances in general, look for people that have had a longevity of experiences in various circumstances. If it's not always just finding someone who's been quote unquote successful, as a lot of times in our culture, people that are born on third base, if they do something a little bit beyond third base, they may think they've hit a home run in life. But I do think it's very much incumbent upon you, if you're looking for a mentor, find somebody that maybe has had a up from the bootstraps, especially if you've been pretty well blessed your whole life. Getting somebody that's had to do it all up from the bootstraps would meet what I just talked about, in that it's going to be somebody who has some different views of you because they've come up a different way. Also, I think people from different generations view things much differently. And if you're in any business that has customers, which every business does, that is a tremendously underrated quality to have, is the ability to kind of look multi-generationally. And I can assure you, the customers that you may have, if they're a different generation than you, they may have different values and thoughts and ideas than what you have on a regular basis. And if you can surround yourself with individuals that are from that generation, you're going to be blessed with their advice. And I would say too, the old saying out of the Bible that there is nothing new under the sun is absolutely true. I mean, things have come through and been repackaged and repurposed, but really, especially in finance, there's really nothing new under the sun. I mean, people either pay you or they don't. Businesses either flourish or they don't. And usually it's a combination of errors that have happened over centuries that get people in trouble. And I think, too, probably third, and it's crucial in finding a mentor, somebody you can talk to both about your professional endeavors and personal endeavors. It's better to find mentors who don't take themselves so seriously. They're often not as intimidating as their resumes may indicate they should be, but being able to insert some levity in a situation is a key and long-term note of success for different individuals, that they don't take themselves too seriously, but they're able to do a good job at running the businesses that they have built, that have become parts of the board, etc. Now, some key takeaways too is if you surround yourself with the right people, you will pick up some habits from them that have kind of lasted a lifetime. And one of those, Ronnie, he always dug a little bit deeper, never judge a book by a cover, and kind of get to know the customers on a personal level, and keep your ears to the grindstone constantly, so you know where you stand. An old maxim is that it's easier to stay out of trouble than to get out of trouble. And if you've ever had to move a car out of a ditch or a business out of a ditch, you absolutely know that maxim is 100% accurate, and they are words to live by. You might say, where do you find people like this? Well, every community is full of people like this. Take a look around. If you know the business that the way you want your business to look in the future, find some people that have had businesses that look that way in the past.
This program has been paid for by Rainmaker Incorporated.
This is WOMI Owensboro, 99.1 FM, 1490 AM. Translator W256CF, a Town Square media station.
More hiring in May. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. The monthly jobs report from the Labor Department is stronger than most economists expected, with more jobs created and more people looking for work.
339,000 non-farm payrolls added for the month of May. The unemployment rate ticking up more than expected to 3.7%. The street was looking for 3.5%. And remember, we were at 3.4% for the month of April.
Shirka Soni with Fox Business. President Biden in a statement says the agreement approved by Congress to raise the nation's debt limit and avoid default protects what he calls our historic and hard-earned economic recovery. About 1 in 4 members of Congress voted against that deal, mostly Republicans.
The Democrats got everything they wanted. Republicans didn't get much.
This is a win for the American people and the Republican Party, and I believe there's been a lot of misinformation put out.
Virginia House Republican Ben Cline and Ohio Republican Max Miller, both on Fox Business. The head of Customs and Border Patrol, Acting Commissioner Troy Miller, calls the death of an 8-year-old girl in Texas a deeply upsetting and unacceptable tragedy.
A Customs and Border Protection report says a nurse practitioner declined to review medical documents about Anadith Tane Reyes Alvarez. That same nurse practitioner also denied 3 or 4 requests from the child's mother for an ambulance. That report from the CPB's Office of Professional Responsibility says Anadith wound up with a temperature of nearly 105 and died days after she and her parents had been taken into custody. The CPB's acting commissioner said the death is an unacceptable tragedy, and we can and we will do better to ensure this never happens again. Jill Nato, Fox News.
Was Fort Bragg now Fort Liberty? The Army base in North Carolina is renamed in a ceremony this morning, part of an initiative to drop names linked to the Confederacy. America's listening to Fox News.
Hey, you've heard me talk about Henry Repeating Arms and their incredible line of 200 rifles and shotguns. This company's owned by a family of true patriots who are so dedicated to our country that all of their products are made in America or they are not made at all. And they're also so loyal to their customers that they provide award-winning customer service. And by the way, they back their firearms with a lifetime warranty. Now, Henry makes a line of tribute edition rifles. You got to check these out. I love them. They honor the unsung heroes who serve our great nation, including active military, veterans, law enforcement, and sheriffs and firefighters and EMS, and so many more. Now, you can check them out for yourself. Go to their website, henryusa.com/tribute. And there's the Henry's Deluxe engraved limited edition rifles that are the crown jewels of any collection. Once an edition sells out, it's gone forever. Go to henryusa.com. You get a free catalog. You get free decals and a list of dealers where you are. That's henryusa.com. Free catalog, free decals, and you're going to love these firearms.
The cost of prescription medications keeps some people from taking them as often as they should. There's a new federal report about it.
The report says about 1 in 10 U.S. adults aged 18 to 64 who took prescription medications in 2021 did not take them as directed in order to reduce costs. The CDC says about 58% of adults in that age range took prescription drugs in 2021, and more than 8% of them adjusted doses or put off getting a prescription filled. It also found that it was more common among women, the uninsured, and those not in good health. Racial disparities were also seen in the report, which says more than 10% of blacks and more than 9% of Hispanics are more likely to have taken cost-cutting measures with their medications. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
It's been 2 years of record-breaking summer heat in Europe, and there are preparations for extreme weather this summer.
European crisis team official Janez Lenarčič says climate change means we're living in difficult times.
In recent years, we have seen wildfires raging in countries in the central and even northern Europe, and we have seen historic floods.
But you can't count on one to balance out the other, and with a ferocious drought forecast for southern Europe, the EU is getting prepared. The RescEU firefighting fleet will this year include 24 planes and 4 helicopters. 11 different countries are sending almost 450 firefighters to France, Greece and Portugal. Jonathan Savage, Fox News.
A federal judge in Florida, Mark Walker, disqualifies himself from a case brought by Disney against Governor Ron DeSantis only because he says he learned last week a relative owns 30 shares of Disney stock. He was appointed by President Obama and accuses the DeSantis legal team of judge shopping. The case is reassigned to Judge Alan C. Windsor. He was appointed by President Trump. On Wall Street, the Dow's up 354 points. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News.